The second biggest WWE pay-per-view weekend of the entire year is finally upon us as we enter the new ThunderDome for Summerslam weekend. It certainly doesn't feel like Summerslam weekend at all. At all. Nothing feels important. The biggest thing about WWE programming is their move into the ThunderDome for Friday Night SmackDown, for SummerSlam, for Monday Night Raw, and every weekly show thereafter for the rest of 2020. Today, I will have SummerSlam preview and predictions as we go over what I think should happen on Sunday's biggest pay-per-view of the summer. Also, what is WWE's feeling about moving into the ThunderDome? What is Vince McMahon feeling? How is he feeling after moving out of the Performance Center? How's the rest of the roster feeling? Is the morale high? What does WWE expect to happen on Friday night with the ThunderDome? And what is their schedule plan for all that is included with this new interactive experience? Also, folks, the big one, and it pertains to Monday Night Raw. Are we about to see Bruce Pritchard removed from the Monday Night Raw Executive Director position? And could we see Shane McMahon as the new head of Monday Night Raw? All this plus so much more on an absolutely loaded episode 340 right here on Off the Script.
5, delete! This is mine.
Alive with it. People still What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. It is Friday, August 21st, 2020. And man, oh man, what a weekend it's going to be. What a night it's going to be as we all enter for the first time ever the WWE ThunderDome tonight on SmackDown, as it will be live for the first show emanating from the Amway Center. It's going to be crazy, man. I said it all week. I did some extras all week long. I talked about the Amway Center. I talked about the ThunderDome. I even gave you guys a sneak peek inside the ThunderDome with live video from Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. I'm very curious to see what WWE does. I'm not excited. I'm a little bit older than a lot of people listening to me here. Some of you may be my age, even older, and I know you feel the same way that I do. And that is, you don't get excited with WWE nowadays. They always somehow let you down. And I'm not about to get excited about them moving into the building because, as I have, quite frankly, expressed very vehemently, I'm not excited about the move into the ThunderDome, into the Amway Center, because I feel like it's going to be the same creative anyway. WWE's on this kick about moving out, and everybody in the community is joining them in this excitement. Excitement for what? You're moving into another building with the same creative team. That's not really what I call spring cleaning or summer cleaning or getting a housekeeper to clean up the fucking mess that you left behind. It's not really what I want. It's not really what the WWE needs. So I'm not going to sit here and act like a shill and get excited like a little mark, like a little schoolboy, over the fact that they're moving into a new industrial ThunderDome with lasers and drones and pyro and entrances and the full WWE experience. The full WWE experience doesn't really need to be there. The full WWE experience to me and a lot of people nowadays would be a damn good television show. A television show that I know they are capable of writing but refuse to do so. So the ThunderDome, I'm curious to see what it looks like I'm curious to see where WWE goes with it. And we're going to discuss the entire premise of the Thunderdome, what I think they will do, what I think they won't do, what the rules and guidelines are for people to sign up. I tried to sign up, but I didn't know when to sign up. WWE said Monday, and then all of a sudden on Tuesday, it was sold out in 10 minutes, or the signups were closed in 10 minutes. So we're going to go over that. And the one very big reason that nobody is talking about why the WWE actually moved out of the Performance Center. Was it the ratings? Was it anything else? Was it the fact that Vince McMahon didn't want to be there? Was it the production team and Kevin Dunn? Or was it a very simple thing like the AEW effect? Is this another reason to give AEW more power in the situation? Did AEW force WWE's hand to move out of the Performance Center? Did WWE fall victim again to the AEW effect? We'll go over that today on the podcast and everything concerning the Thunderdome. Also, like I said in the beginning, spirits of the roster. Where are they? What's the morale in the locker room? What's Vince McMahon's mood? The Thunderdome selling out in minutes, like I said. All the strict guidelines for you guys if you want to sign up for a future Thunderdome session. So we'll go over that as well. What the scramble, typical mad scramble is to get ready for the Amway Center. What WWE is doing as far as getting ready and what the internal change to the writing process will be now that they're moving into the Thunderdome. And the big one, man, Shane McMahon replacing Bruce Pritchard as executive director of Monday Night Raw. It has been discussed. Vince McMahon right now is mulling over the idea of putting his son in charge of Monday Night Raw. That is a big story, probably bigger than anything else I'm going to talk about today. Obviously, we'll go over the Monday Night Raw ratings, SummerSlam predictions on what I think should happen on Sunday night. Loaded show here tonight, guys, so I don't want to waste any of your time. And I appreciate you being here with me right here for episode 340 of Off the Script. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for live tweeting with me all week long so far during Raw, during NXT. As you guys know, NXT was on Wednesday night unopposed. There was no AEW show. AEW will bleed into NXT TakeOver 30 on Saturday night. I will not be watching the AEW show as I will be getting ready for TakeOver. That is the most important thing on my Saturday night. And as soon as the show is over, I will be live on YouTube discussing everything that happened at Full Sail University. But if you guys are watching me on YouTube right now, look at what I just posted on the screen. I have to mention this because I found it to be absolutely one of those cases of WWE stupidity, and I love calling them out on their mistakes because it brings me great joy. Whoever's in charge of their Instagram accounts for WWE Shop, if I'm Triple H, I want this guy's skull. Honestly. This guy might have ruined the main event for NXT TakeOver between Karrion Kross and Keith Lee. Now, I don't know why you need Karrion Kross to promote the WWE Shop replica belts. Oh, look, they're on sale. Look at how great it looks on Karrion Kross, being that he just won the NXT Championship. An NXT Championship match that hasn't taken place yet. Give me a break, folks. Now, I don't think he should lose. I don't think WWE should book him to lose in some nefarious way, a.k.a. Tommaso Ciampa returning. I don't think Keith Lee should win clean. This match was made for one reason and one reason only, and that's for Karrion Kross to be the dominant figure on NXT. Maybe Ciampa comes back and wants Goldie back, and the revenge he seeks will not only be against Kross, but against Kross and getting Goldie back. I don't know. What happens to Keith Lee? Maybe he gets called up to the main roster. He's more than ready, especially after what we've seen in the Royal Rumble. Everybody was calling for him to be on the main roster after that. And before that situation, his big night at the Survivor Series with Roman Reigns. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Laugh at them for their sheer stupidity. I will be live on Saturday night for TakeOver right here on YouTube on Off the Script, so make sure you guys take a note of that. I will also be live during Summerslam Sunday night. Not really a live stream as far as reactions go, but I will be live with the podcast. As live can be, man. Right here on OTS. Hopefully you guys can join me and make that the #1 podcast of the entire weekend in the IWC for SummerSlam. There was also a lot of content on the channel this week, man. I did Monday Night Raw live. I did NXT live with my buddy Jesse, which was a great show. We went over everything TakeOver and NXT Go Home show, everything you need to get ready for Saturday night. And I actually did 3 additional extras, off the script extras, that are only exclusively available on YouTube. So if you guys are listening on iTunes and Podbean and all other audio platforms, that's the only way you can get the off the script extras. I've had people come to me and say, JD, are the extras going up on iTunes? No, they're not. I need something to coerce you guys to come to the YouTube channel. If I put everything on the audio side, then nobody's going to watch me on YouTube, and that's where I make most of my revenue. So you got to come on over, hit that subscribe button, because there's going to be stuff on there that's not going to be available on the audio side of things. So make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. Links for every playlist you need on the channel for 2020 is linked down below in the description of this very video. Go and get your masks. I got the new black masks in. They look great. I got one. Mouth Masker sent me a complimentary black mask. It looks fantastic, man. I got to give it to them. The black looks so much better than the white. It really pops with the white logo. It's so awesome. Go and get your masks. Mouthmasker.com/OTS. Every little bit helps out everybody else going through the same shit right now, and it helps me out as well. If you guys want to go and get your t-shirts, man, JD is Negan is still available for sale. It will be available. Bonfire.com. Go and get your t-shirts today, man. Bonfire exclusively, the home of JD is Negan and all other recent off-the-script designs. That's bonfire.com, the exclusive home of OTS merchandise. And today's podcast is brought to you by the one and only Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. And I want to thank them for sponsoring today's show right here for episode 340 of Off the Script. So Friday night, WWE is going to be giving us a virtual interactive experience inside the WWE ThunderDome. Now, I don't know how long that name is going to stay because of the movie, but WWE is promising an over-the-top, WrestleMania-like budget and experience for all shows moving forward in 2020 with Raw, SmackDown, and every pay-per-view starting this Sunday with SummerSlam. Now, everybody in the community can make their excuses as to why WWE is moving inside the Amway Center and out of the Performance Center. Ratings, obviously. That's WWE's thing. Why are the ratings down? Oh, it's got to be the fucking building's fault. That's the dumbest excuse I've ever heard in my existence as being a wrestling fan. You're blaming the fucking building on the fact that you can't write a good show. I can write a good show in my fucking sleep, not knowing I'm writing a good wrestling show. I can book matches better on a fucking video game, and these human beings with real-life athletes and superstars can't write a good show that makes sense and is enjoyable on a weekly basis. So who is to blame here? Is it the fucking building? Or is it the simple fact that these people don't care? Blaming an inanimate object for your failures as far as creative writing. I've heard it all. I've honestly heard it all at this point. And nobody is questioning anything. Nobody is batting an eyelash. Oh, it's SummerSlam. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, it's WWE. They get to get a free pass, right? It's unreal how WWE fans continue to sweep all of their negligence under the rug. That's not me. That's not me. If there's one thing that I rest my hat on, it is the honesty and the truth that you guys deserve. If I wasn't doing what I do on a weekly basis here, I don't even think I would want to be here personally. I wouldn't even waste my time. Now, no matter what anybody thinks about the fucking building or the excuses of the building, has anybody else thought that maybe WWE moving into the Thunderdome is just another notch on the belt of the AEW effect? The AEW effect is the undisputed world heavyweight champion of pro wrestling. And nobody can refute that. This is another situation that you could put into the filing cabinet. That is the AEW effect. Has anybody talked about this scenario? Don't you think that AEW has influenced WWE to move out of the building? Well, JD, why do you say that? You're an AEW shill. You're an AEW mark. You're on Tony Khan's payroll. Oh, really? I love for you to fucking conjure up a Tony Khan paycheck. I wish. Put me in a fucking position. Give me Alex Marvez's position. I'll do it better than he could possibly ever do it, ever. Give me a break. If I had the opportunity to work for AEW, I wouldn't even bat an eyelash. But JD, how can you say that? Well, folks, Vince McMahon is going around discussing all of these different excuses and coming up with, oh, it's the fact that Brock Lesnar's not there, or it's the fact it's the building's fault, or ratings are going to go back up, and this guy's missing, and that woman is missing, and it's the building, and all these other fucking excuses. But don't you think that Vince McMahon is looking at AEW and their ratings, or somebody in WWE internally is looking at their ratings? It doesn't necessarily have to be Vince McMahon. I don't think Vince McMahon's watching any of AEW. He hears about AEW from maybe H or his writing team or his fucking cronies in the back. Wood. You know, someone like that. Maybe not even him. Maybe AEW isn't his flavor of wood. I don't know. But somebody is keying Vince McMahon in on all that's going on. Don't you think that somebody's telling Vince McMahon, well, boss, their ratings seem to have gone up and they seem to have normalized in this pandemic era? Oh, well, why is that? I don't know, boss. Maybe it's the building's fault. It's got to be the building. You know, because WWE is operating out of the Performance Center. It looks like a rundown, non-WWE production, minor league production, right? It's a gymnasium at the end of the day. It's a fucking gym that WWE is running out of. It's got to be the Performance Center. Meanwhile, the shows that they're putting on have been some of the worst I've ever seen in all my years watching the product. I don't understand how it's the building's fault. WWE could have used this time to experiment, to push new stars. Maybe this guy works out, maybe this guy doesn't, maybe she works out, maybe she doesn't. WWE could have used this time to push the fucking envelope a little bit as far as maybe TV 14-ish, being a little bit more intense, a little bit more realistic. These scripts are being written and handed to Vince McMahon, and like I mentioned on Monday Night Raw, these shows have more fucking holes in them, logic holes, more holes in them than a block of Swiss cheese. Call them boar's head from now on. And I love me a good Swiss cheese sandwich, believe me. Spicy mustard on there, or a nice fucking pumpernickel, or a rye bread. That's my language right there, man. Seriously. I love me some pumpernickel. Don't get me started. It's not the building's fault. It's the AEW effect. Their ratings have gone up. They continue to produce good shows. Not every show is a home run, but it's definitely an AEW effect. Vince sees them working out of Daly's place. Oh, that's reminiscent of a big arena. What's the capacity of Daly's place? 5,000-6,000 people? WWE's got a performance center that houses what? 300 fucking people? So they're moving out of the Performance Center into the Amway Center to get the one-up on everybody else. Oh, look at us with our interactive fucking Thunderdome. AEW absolutely influenced WWE to move out of the Performance Center. No question. No question. Their ratings have gone up. WWE's ratings have gone down. It's the building. Let's move out. Let's go to the Amway Center. People are going to watch because it's going to feel like normal. Absolutely. Absolutely. If WWE's ratings were where they should be for Monday Night Raw, and I mean this with every fiber of my soul, if WWE's ratings were at a 2.7, 2.8, closer to a 3, do you honestly think WWE would be going out and spending money, all these thousands upon thousands of dollars, renting out the Amway Center for $500,000 for the rest of the fucking year? You think WWE would be spending this money when they don't have to spend any money because they're working out of a performance center on a taped schedule? Now they're going live every single week to get the one-up. Now they're moving into a bigger building to get the one-up. Now they're doing the Thunderdome to get the one-up and bring people back to a normalized WWE program. But if the ratings reflected WWE shows the way that everybody expects them to put on a show, then they wouldn't be moving out of the Performance Center. There's no need for them to move out of the Performance Center because the shows would be exactly what we expect them to be, good. I expect them to be garbage, no matter where they go. The shows you got inside the PC, other shows you're going to get inside the Amway Center. No different. Absolutely an AEW effect. Now, with the WWE moving into the Thunderdome, the Amway Center, what do you think AEW did? What do you think AEW did? As I record this in the early afternoon of Thursday, it barely touched 12:30. I'm sitting here live recording this for you guys on Friday, and I come across a text from my buddy Rusty. The good old 414. Rusty, happy birthday, brother. He texts me and says, AEW's going to have fans, 10% capacity. I'm like, really? Where did you see this? So obviously I jump in my chair here, grab myself another coffee, browse social media, and there I see it. AEW to host live ticketed events at 10% capacity at Daly's Place starting August 27th, live on TNT. That's Thursday. A Thursday where they will be unopposed and no NXT will be counter-programmed. So this is going to be big. AEW, man, you gotta give it to Mr. Tony Khan. You gotta give it to my boy Cody and the rest of the management over there. They know what they're doing, man. How soon do we see the Thunderdome fail and Vince go back to live fans? Man, he must feel like a blithering idiot now, spending all of these thousands upon thousands of dollars for fucking interactive geeks fucking waving their arm, probably muted for the 2 hours, 3 hours they're watching a WWE program because God forbid somebody goes into business for themselves. We'll talk about that in a second. I gotta watch these fucking geeks on a big screen. Meanwhile, AEW is gonna have the real life thing inside Daly's Place. Man, Vince must be fucking fuming, steam coming out of his ears. Good. Good. And I said this weeks ago, if you're allowed to have fans, why the fuck don't you have fans? And people, WWE's not having fans because they signed the contract with the Amway Center where they cannot house fans until at least November. And what happens in November? It's the presidential election. So hopefully with all that's going on, and maybe if Trump is ousted from the White House, maybe we get a little lesser of the coronavirus and things going back to normal. But AEW is hosting live ticketed events at the Daly's Place from this point on. All Elite Wrestling announced it will host limited ticketed crowds of 10 to 15% capacity for its live shows at the open-air Daly's Place Amphitheater in Jacksonville, Florida, starting on Thursday, August 27th, live on TNT, to safely bring back the energy of a live audience to AEW shows. Love how they worded that. Virtual, interactive, Thunderdome, virtual, drones, lasers, ha 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 ha. etc., etc., to safely bring back the energy of a live audience in compliance with state and local regulations and CDC guidelines. A select number of physically distanced seating pods will be available for sale in groups of 2, 3, 4, and 6 around the outdoor venue. For the first ticketed show on August 27th, a maximum crowd of 10% capacity will be permitted going forward, as long as safety protocols are followed meticulously. A maximum crowd of 15% capacity will be permitted for all live events at Daly's Place. Limited tickets to attend the August 27th Dynamite show airing on TNT will go on sale Friday, August 21st at 10 a.m. So as you guys listen to this and watch this, they are on sale. Go to AEWTix.com and Ticketmaster.com. Tickets start at $30, not including service charges or fees. Now, the protocols, folks. Everybody's already complaining on social media because we have nothing but Karens in the community and people who apparently have medical degrees and medical documentation. Social media PhDs is all I see, which means you're a blithering fucking fool at the end of the day. So the regulations here for AEW, folks, guests will be required to wear face coverings that cover the nose and mouth and to physically distance from any person who is not a member of their pod. Guests will also be asked to not attend the day of the show if they have COVID-19, symptoms of COVID-19, or have had close contact exposure to someone who they know has COVID-19 or symptoms. In addition, all guests will have their temperatures scanned prior to entry. An increased number of hand sanitizing stations will be available, and floor markings will also be used to assist with physical distancing. Industrial fans were also added this past year to further improve air circulation at the open air venue. As a further safeguard, all tickets will be mobile and may only be purchased online at AEWTix.com and Ticketmaster.com. Daly's Place will also transition to cashless payment and mobile ordering for most transactions, including food and merchandise purchases. Tony Khan said this, and I quote, "We've missed the incredible energy of our fans at shows. From what we've heard from them, they've missed being with us." Oh, Mr. Khan, Tony, bro, I missed you too, man. With our enhanced safety measures and outdoor venue, we look forward to welcoming our fans back to become part of the action in person. Please be assured we are mindful and respectful of the situation. The health and safety of our AEW family and our fans remains our highest priority. Our leadership team and medical staff have adjusted our operations for limited, physically distanced fans in an outdoor, open-air setting in compliance with the most current state and local regulations and CDC guidelines. We cannot wait for the August 27th Dynamite, as the road to All Out will be present at the beginning of this new chapter in AEW history. End quote. Folks, I want to dead it right now. Everybody, and I'm guilty of egging you all on, and I'm guilty of acting the way that I do. It's my show. I can do and say and act however I please. And yes, I do think in the back of some of their minds, this is something that they are doing to kind of stick it to WWE. Oh, look at what you're doing. Look at all the lengths that you're going through. Yeah, we're going through lengths as well to keep everybody safe, but we got live human beings in our venue. It's great to see them actually doing it, and I said this about WWE. If you are able to have live fans in Florida, why not have live fans? So AEW beat them to the punch again. Not only did they do it with the empty arena shows and showing WWE how it's done, now they're doing it in the next chapter of all of this nonsense, how to do it right. And for everybody complaining on social media, why do you care? Again, I said the same thing about Jericho and the Fozzy concert at Sturgis. Why the fuck do you care? Why do you care about another person's health? If you're not going to the fucking show, if you're not contemplating attending the show, if you don't live in Florida, why the fuck do you care? You're going to be exactly where I am watching the show. You're going to be at home on your couch in your pajamas with a beverage of choice watching AEW Dynamite on a Thursday that goes unopposed with no NXT on. So I don't understand why all these social media fucking doctors with their imaginary fucking documentation and medical degrees got to come forward. Oh, it's wrong. Oh, someone's going to get COVID. Oh, this. Oh, that. I don't believe they're doing this. How could they? My God, they should be banished. AEW should close shop. They're running a sloppy shop. Really? Because from what I read here, Tony Khan is taking every fucking possible precaution here. In the nature of the situation, he's taking every possible precaution, and he's going above and fucking beyond to do the right thing. How much of it has to do with WWE? A little. And how much of it has to do with All Out? A lot. All Out is their biggest show of the year. All Out does not deserve what we got with Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing was a fine show, but it wasn't what it was the year prior. And I know Tony Khan, just like Vince, is thinking the same thing with the same type of mentality. I don't want to go into our second pay-per-view this year, our biggest pay-per-view of the entire year, and have it end up being as lame as the last one. We need to do something if we are able to do something. We got to give these people more. We got to give these people something like they remembered from an AEW show when things were normal. So how much of this has to do with All Out, and how much of it has to do with getting the one up and kind of sticking it to Vince McMahon? A lot. A lot. A lot with All Out, a little about Vince McMahon. Kevin Dunn could come out there and say, well, it's not the right time for fans, and we got to take this precautionary measure and this one and that one. The fans are the lifeblood of the WWE universe. Yeah, AEW beat you to the punch. If they're able to have fans, I swear to God, if AEW is able to have fans, then that should not be an issue for WWE. The only reason why WWE is going virtual is because they're fucking lazy. They're virtually lazy. That's all they are. Because they had one major outbreak in WWE because of their negligence, and they want to blame everybody else for their fucking stupidity. Give me a break. This is not the same. Comparing this and WWE's outbreak inside the Performance Center, I don't see anybody going to AEW shows contracting the coronavirus. I know WWE had an entire fucking locker room of over 36 have COVID-19. But AEW, I haven't had one breakout case, maybe a couple here and there. No fans got anything by entering Daly's place. So what's the excuse? What's the excuse? WWE doesn't want to go to the lengths. They want to take the safe route. But WWE is taking the virtual safe route. AEW is taking the real safe route. And I appreciate them for going to that length. And if somebody gets coronavirus or COVID or whatever by attending an AEW show, it's not going to be AEW to blame. Because look at all that they're doing. With every precautionary measure in place, if you are slightly off according to their guidelines, bro, get back to your hotel room, hop on that plane, and go the fuck back home. They ain't letting you in. This will be great. All Out. 10% capacity is fucking 500 people. 500 people could make a lot of fucking noise. Noise that could really offset All Out from being a good show to a fucking damn near great show. And then if all goes right the next week and the week after that and things remain consistent, then that's when we get the 15%. WWE should have no excuses. If AEW is doing it, then they should be able to do it as well. And like I said, let me cycle back. This is the AEW effect. Absolutely. If the ratings for Monday Night Raw were where they should be, we wouldn't be talking about a fucking Thunderdome on Friday night. Now, speaking of the Thunderdome, spirits are high, and they are as high as they've been in quite some time with WWE's move into the Amway Center and the unveiling of the Thunderdome. According to WrestleVotes, many people within WWE are feeling rather optimistic right now, especially with the move to the Amway Center kicking off SmackDown tonight. Now, taking to Twitter, WrestleVolt had the following to say about the spirits within the WWE camp right now backstage. And I quote, source in Orlando says spirits are high as they've been in some time. Many backstage and road employees who have been off are returning, and the intrigue of the Thunderdome has staff excited. The energy this weekend from the talent performing should be off the charts. End quote. So I'm glad. Listen, again, I'm curious. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. If it sucks, I will let you know. If it's good and it works, I will let you know. We don't know until we get in there. The one thing I'm happy about is the road employees that were off because WWE didn't need them. They were working on a closed set. They didn't need all those hands on deck. Now they all got work. And they will continue to have work as long as WWE is operating out of the Amway Center. So if the most important thing to come out of this is, to you, a better show, God bless you. The most important thing to me is to see the livelihood of everybody that has been off and not working get back to work and do what they love to do. That's the most important thing to me. Like I said, the most important thing to me as far as WWE shows could have happened inside the Performance Center, but that wasn't the case because of their laziness. But if this means more people get work, then that's the most important thing and should be the most important thing moving forward. Now, many fans are optimistic that the change in location from the PC to the Amway Center in Orlando will be a welcoming change, especially with the introduction of Thunderdome. WrestleVotes notes that the energy this weekend from the talent performing should be off the charts, which is always a great thing to see. If they're enthusiastic, if they're happy to be there, if they're happy to be in the ring, then normally we see that and it's emanating from the Amway Center and we feel it through our televisions. So you know when somebody wants to be there, you know when somebody's happy to work, you know when somebody doesn't want to be there and could give a shit, or couldn't give a shit rather, about what's going on or how the match is going or this and that. So we all know. We see it. So that's what WrestleVotes says, and I'm glad spirits are high. Normally when spirits are high, that translates to a better show. So I can only hope. So what does this mean about Vince McMahon's mood? Vince McMahon's mood heading into the Thunderdome is that of excitement. Vince McMahon excited? My God, are we really living in the Twilight Zone? Now, Vince McMahon has reportedly been in a volatile mood since WWE has had to operate out of the Performance Center tapings, or the Performance Center rather, but his mood has been great this past week. According to two WWE sources, McMahon is said to be feeling pretty good as the shows are coming together inside the Thunderdome at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Vince feels like the worst is over, and he feels that the company can get back to where they were before the virus came along, said one WWE source. He's been in a great mood ever since they locked in the contract at the Amway Center, end quote. Another WWE source noted that McMahon seemed more upbeat at the last creative meeting. The feeling among people that have been around him is that he believes that ratings will be up for Raw and SmackDown very soon. The source said, Vince thinks it might take a few weeks to get back to normal and to get the fans back, the fans that they lost, but they realize working out at the Performance Center did not look good, and they love how cool the shows will look with the Thunderdome, and he feels the fans will be back. He thinks the numbers can get back to where they were in February and early March. Even then, they weren't really all that good. So I don't really know why you're gauging it on that. They weren't as bad as they are now, obviously, but that doesn't mean that those shows back in February and March were doing any better. This might have been the worst year as far as ratings go for WWE, period. Even before the pandemic, which right now, they are charting historically low. They were achieving record lows with fans in attendance live every week. They were achieving the worst ratings that Raw and SmackDown have ever seen. So the fact that you've gotten worse with all of this, I mean, it doesn't really matter. There's no comparison. They were record lows then under normal circumstances. They're record lows now under the circumstances that we're going through, but it's not the fact that the fans aren't there. That's part of the reason. How about the part of the reason being the shows just fucking suck? I don't understand people's logic. The shows aren't good. If something's not good, you're not going to watch. If something doesn't taste good, you're not going to eat it. If something doesn't sound good, you're not going to listen to it. If something isn't the way you want as far as a video game goes, you're not going to play it. It's a very simple concept, folks. It's not rocket science. So I don't understand why people are blaming the fucking building or the fact that fans aren't there. Yes, I know, fans being absent doesn't make for a good wrestling experience. I get it. But WWE has had the means to work around all of this and still present good shows, and they haven't done anything. So please spare me your excuses. If anybody says that these shows have been overwhelmingly positive or good, the majority of them being good, I don't know what the fuck you're watching. It's not my WWE. I don't know what the fuck this is. And a move to the Thunderdome on Friday, it's not going to help. If the shows creatively have been bad, the way they have been, what do you think you're going to get in the Thunderdome? The creative writing team is magically going to show up to work? Vince is going to approve all that they write? The shows are still being handled by Vince McMahon. Meaning, last-minute scripts. Scripts that he's gotten for days, that he didn't overlook. Logic gap after logic gap after logic gap are going to be present. Give me a break, folks. I don't understand people's mentality about this. I really don't get it. It's so sad to see the community be so stupid. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. I really will. I will. I will see it. I will watch it based out of curiosity alone. They're putting so much into this, and when WWE starts throwing the WrestleMania-like production around, you know it's going to be over the top, and people are going to watch out of curiosity, which is going to make the first show the most important show. What is going to happen there? That's going to hook people to watch the next week. So the most important show is going to be that first show. And I would even be a betting man to say that the second show is probably going to be the more important show than the first show. It's going to be the most important show. Because then that means to you how many fans you got from the first show that came over from that show to the second show. How many people are going to be genuinely interested in SmackDown and Raw moving forward. So if they're watching Friday night and they like what they see, they're going to watch SummerSlam. If they like what they see on Friday and Sunday, they're going to watch Monday Night Raw. And then from there, in week 2, in week 3, in week 4, you can assess and analyze what's going on. I don't want to hear these people in the community, oh, Monday Night Raw, oh, SmackDown, look, it's working. It's working. The Thunderdome is a resounding success. Every first show, when something new is presented, whether it's a debut episode, whether it's a season premiere, or whatever the fucking case may be. It could be day one an album drops. It could be day one of a video game being released on PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. On day one regarding everything, the numbers are always up. Then you see week 2, week 3, week 4, and the numbers continue to go down, and then they normalize and level out to where they should be. So I don't want to hear people saying, oh, Friday worked. Look at the rating, 2.8. Everybody loves the Thunderdome. You can't say that. That's completely illogical. It's unrealistic. The number you should be looking at is week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, 2 months from now. That's where WWE will normalize. But Vince McMahon thinks that the ratings are going to go back up. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference because I know no matter who is there or what type of WrestleMania production is there present, drones and lasers and lights and this and that, if the shows suck, then nobody's going to watch. And that is the majority of the reason why people are not watching, folks. The shows suck. Please get it through your skulls. Now, the Thunderdome sells out in minutes. WWE issued strict guidelines for the Thunderdome fans in attendance virtually. Now, I wanted to sign up for this thing. Believe it or not, I wanted to sign up for this thing. And WWE said that sign-ups would happen on Monday night. Went to the website, WWE ThunderDome.com. Nothing was there as far as a sign-up goes. I'm over here playing fucking Fall Guys or Call of Duty or Destiny, whatever the fuck I was playing on Tuesday afternoon. And all of a sudden I see WWE ThunderDome sold out in minutes. Sign-up ended in minutes. And I'm like, why? How? Did they send out a press release? Did they email everybody signed up to the fucking network? That's how lazy these fucking people are. What if somebody wanted to sign up? You're a member of the WWE network since its inception in 2014, and you don't get a fucking email being one of the first people to sign up? How little does WWE fucking care about their paying customer? Now, I'm not making a big deal about it. I'm just speaking realistically and logically to you guys. There should have been some preferential first come, first serve treatment here. WWE didn't send out a tweet. They just sent it live and it sold out in minutes. You probably had people camping out like they camp out at a fucking concert to get close to the stage. You ever show up to a venue fucking 7 hours before the show starts and you see some fucking geeks standing there? I mean, Jesus Christ, you got nothing else better to do with your fucking day. They were probably sniping the website, waiting for this thing to go live. Oh, there's a form. Sign it up. Give me a break, man. And by the way, I only do that with one or two bands, really. I'll be the geek, standing out there for 7 hours for an Alter Bridge or a Symphony X concert. Nobody else, really. Nobody else, really. But there are rules and regulations, folks, as far as the ThunderDome goes. Now, given the unique opportunity of the ThunderDome and all that it presents every fan is expected to participate and appear on his or her screen throughout the duration of the event. Any extended absence from the screen may result in his or her WWE ThunderDome seat being reassigned to a replacement participant or otherwise discontinued. We reserve the right to not allow you to participate, which probably would be me. All they need to see is JD from NY206 at yahoo.com. And this guy's blacklisted. Give me a break. You don't think they're fucking screening people and podcasters and personalities in the community? They're absolutely screening every single motherfucker in this community. So they reserve the right to not allow you to participate or to immediately terminate your participation at any time during WWE ThunderDome for no reason or for any reason at our sole discretion, including but not limited to if your behavior is inappropriate or violates any of these terms listed below, folks. So these are the terms and rules and regulations listed here for WWE ThunderDome. You better be a good little boy or you're going to have your participation revoked. Not sharing their link with anybody else. Clearly, this is going to be a very sought-after thing. You wouldn't want to be giving your link away to some other geek in the community, and then you're shit out of luck. Be respectful. Be respectful. Because WWE fans, I'm sure, the stands and the marks and the fucking shills and the check marks, forget about it, man. If you are somebody that loves everything that they do, and you got to hear somebody else talking shit about, oh, Alexa Bliss is trash, oh, Charlotte Flair is trash, or Sasha Banks is a fucking whore, Sasha Banks is ratchet, and Bayley sucks, and all this other shit, right? WWE doesn't want any of that live. So this is, to me, immediately just sending fucking bubbles, thought bubbles off the top of my head. I don't think there's going to be any sound emanating from any of those screens whatsoever. Everybody's going to be sitting in complete muted silence. You're going to see. That's all you're going to be seeing. People pointing in their mouth with the fucking wide open expressions and the fucking, excitement. That's all you're going to see on the big screen. You're not going to hear any sounds. You're not going to hear any chants. WWE will have sole control over what you see and what you hear at the ThunderDome. Not making any political statements or endorsements. Not smoking. So, I mean, this should be... listen. WWE can do whatever the fuck they want. They're allowing you on their television show. They could do whatever the fuck they want. But I don't really I don't really zing them on that. You got to treat this as if you're going to an actual show. Can you smoke in the venue? No. So then you shouldn't smoke if WWE is allowing you on TV because smoking is bad for you. You shouldn't be smoking. That's your parental advisory here on OTS. But if you do, God bless you. Do what you want. Smoking's not for me. Not being offensive or violent. I don't know what that entails. I don't know who would be violent. Maybe you're beating your kid on the fucking live stream. I don't know. Maybe you want to be like fucking one of these Twitch streamers and have your cat jump on your lap and you want to fucking toss the cat over your head or something. I don't know. Maybe you want to slap your dog around a little bit because he or she vomited on the fucking couch while he was in the frame on the live stream. That's all you need to say. I don't know. Being offensive and violent. No middle fingers, right? This is what we usually see at a regular WWE show. I can't give the fucking finger? Give me a break. No disparaging WWE talents or sponsors. I guess that kind of goes in line with the not being offensive or violent. Because if Seth Rollins is on the screen, I can't be doing this to Seth Rollins, right? Come on. No fun. No fun. No promoting third-party brands. AEW. Oh, man. My allergies are kicking in this time of year, man. Take a sip of water over here. No promoting third-party brands, so WWE will probably not be allowing that good old wrinkly AEW t-shirt on their television shows, huh? They won't be allowing Chris Jericho a little bit of the bubbly t-shirts, right? On their shows, or no Kenny shirts, or Cody shirts, or Elite shirts, right? No cease and desist shirts on WWE Raw and SmackDown. It was also made clear that no one in the household should be streaming service during the ThunderDome experience. This is to make sure that the guest's internet connection is not impacted in any way. No one in your household, they say, should be using your internet connection for other streaming purposes during your participation. Streaming services like Twitch, Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, etc. We reserve the right to terminate or refuse participation in the ThunderDome if we determine, in our sole discretion, that the video or audio connection to the WWE ThunderDome is unclear or unstable. End quote. I do not envy the person who has to sit in the control room and monitor this. God knows how long this screen is going to be, this big LED screen. I do not envy the fucking guy who's got to sit there and monitor everybody on this big wall, this ThunderDome virtual experience. I don't envy them whatsoever. And this goes to what I said earlier. I do not think WWE is going to have live noise emanating into the building from the virtual screen. So you're not going to be hearing people chant. You're not going to be hearing the what chants. You're not going to be hearing the you deserve it chants. I don't really give a shit if those go away or not, to be quite honest with you. I hate those fucking chants. I hate the 1, 2, sweet chant. That one's the fucking worst out of them all. There are some chants I fucking hate. Like, I love some of the chants. NXT does it right. You know, the NXT chants at a takeover, those are the chants that I like. Or chants at an AEW show, those are the chants I like. The main roster chants are fucking lame. Really. People are chanting, "This is awesome," for a fucking Dana Brooke match. For a Carmella match. Are you fucking serious? If that is awesome to you, man, you must have incredibly low standards. My God. But I don't think WWE is going to be allowing sound to be emanating from these big screens into the show. I think they're going to be overdubbing their own sounds. I think they're going to be overdubbing and including sounds into the live feed that they want, chants that they want. So you're going to hear booing. You're going to be hearing cheering and booing for what WWE wants you to think is something that should be booed or cheered. You know, you may be booing, you may be doing this, and WWE might be piping in cheers for somebody else, you know, or something else. Or, for example, you might be cheering Seth Rollins, right? There might be a whole section of people on the virtual screen cheering Seth Rollins, and then WWE is going to be having boos emanate into the ThunderDome. I don't think people are going to be having their sound emanate into the building. And again, I don't envy the people that have to watch out for this. I mean, God forbid somebody is actually, or if WWE is going to allow fans to actually be heard on the big screen, Imagine somebody, changing into a t-shirt, for example. They could troll. WWE obviously wants you to wear their merchandise. That was in the notes as well. They said that WWE merchandise is obviously the way that they want you to go. What if somebody takes their shirt off and trolls everybody? You could be wearing a fucking Bray Wyatt t-shirt. Underneath, you got an AEW t-shirt. You take it off right in the middle of the show, and he's right there on the big screen there. And then WWE's got to fucking get rid of you. They're going to dump you and put somebody else in there. Or what if somebody wants to blurt out a big fuck you in the middle of a Dana Brooke match or a Lacey Evans match? Because those matches, they don't produce anything but fucking crickets anyway, right? Big fuck you into the Thunderdome. WWE doesn't want that. Or what if I'm on there and I blurt out, watch off the script on YouTube, motherfucker, something like that. They don't want that in there. So for a fact that they're not going to allow sounds from the WWE universe into the Thunderdome. So that's just my take on it. Let me know what you think about that. Again, I'm curious to see what they do. I'm curious to see what they do on Friday going into SummerSlam. It's going to make it feel like a bigger deal, yes. But is the creative going to be better off for it? No, absolutely not. Now, WWE is in a typical mad scramble as they enter the Amway Center. Ringside News exclusively reported that both Raw and SmackDown writing teams are still unified as one under my good old buddy Bruce over there. Bruce Pritchard. Company keeps reminding them of that as they pressure for new content in an incredibly stressful environment to be creative. Now, Ringside News says that there has been no real difference regarding how things are being done right now with the move from the PC into the Thunderdome. A current writer with direct knowledge of the situation said, and I quote from Ringside News, this is an exclusive, "Still a mad scramble with no real direction or leadership. Man, I love being validated. I love being vindicated. I do. I don't take myself to be the smartest guy in the IWC, even though you all know that I am. I mean, give me a fucking break, right? I mean, come on. I don't take myself to be the smartest guy here. But my God, man, I'm a 30-year professional watching this shit. I'm like family to these fucking people. Of course, it's the same shit. There's no real direction. There's no real leadership. Why is that? Because WWE's concentrating on the Thunderdome. WWE's not concentrating on what is going to be on Friday Night SmackDown. That's the big difference here. So please, again, I urge you, go into this with my mentality. You can be excited because it's different. It's new. It's not going to be the PC. But please, tread lightly here. Do not go into this with overwhelming excitement because at the end of the day, folks, you should know better than me, just as better as me, that WWE, every time they get you excited, more than likely they let you down. So come on. Now, the top members of the writing team, comprising of Bruce, Ed Koski, Ryan Ward, and John Backstrom, are also changing directions every time Vince changes his mood. So if Vince is happy, then they'll write accordingly. If Vince is unhappy, they will write accordingly. So at the end of the day, they are writing, listen to this, folks, they are writing and changing directions every time Vince changes his mood. Why are they not changing directions every time the fans change their fucking mood, is what I want to know. These people are still writing the shows for Vince. I don't think they understand. They work for us. They work for us. They work for Vince McMahon, yes, but at the end of the day, they work for us. Again, they are writing the shows to appease Vince's mood, and nobody gives a fuck about our mood. So at the end of the day, this will rely on the fans, or WWE, I should say. This will rely on WWE to keep the fans interested. They need to do the best that they can to write these shows and make them meaningful and important, and they need to write these shows, and they need to be consistent. If they don't, I'm going to harbor back to what I just said. the shows suck. If the shows suck, people are not going to watch. And if the shows suck, the Thunderdome is going to lie at the feet of Vince McMahon, and he'll be looking down at failure. WWE's strategy of throwing anything at the wall to see if it sticks resulted in nothing. Absolutely nothing. Their Hail Mary pass mentality did nothing. Raw Underground is a failure. An absolute failure. So what do they have their hat to hang on? Nothing. A fucking concept that went nowhere. The Hurt Business showed up on night one. People were genuinely interested. Is this going to lead to Bobby Lashley getting a match with Brock Lesnar? Is Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar going to show up in the Raw Underground segments? Maybe that will happen now that it's in a bigger building. Because it would honestly look ridiculous if Brock Lesnar walked into the fucking Performance Center and showed up to challenge anybody on a Raw Underground. Maybe that it's in a bigger building right now. This may lead to Brock Lesnar showing back up. Maybe this leads to Roman Reigns coming back because of the bigger stadium that they would be in, the bigger arena that they would be in. Maybe Roman and some of his hesitation is that, it's in a smaller, condensed building. Maybe if they move to a bigger building, maybe WWE would be able to contain everything a lot better. You know? So we'll see what happens. WWE strategy obviously has been throwing shit at the wall to see if it sticks. WWE ThunderDome, according to Vince, he hopes, like I mentioned, fans, hopefully all the fans that have migrated away from WWE programming, they will come back. And Vince wants or hopes that Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, guys like that, would be able to come back and generate interest for the shows. So, again, at the end of the day, folks, it's a typical mad scramble. It's a typical clusterfuck as always. PC, Amway Center, your grandmother's fucking basement or backyard. It doesn't matter. It's the same shit. Directionless and no leadership. But please, explain to me how the Thunderdome is going to make for an incredible show when it's the same show that you've always been given, dating back for the last 5 years in this steep decline. WWE is going live, as we know. WWE is going live, so that will internally change the writing process for Raw and SmackDown. Now, Ringside News, also in the same breath, has learned that both brands are still under Bruce Pritchard. The writing team will be given assignments in the same fashion they've always been given assignments and have been operating under since Paul Heyman's departure. So yes, continue to do the same shit that obviously has failed week after week after week, but please do the same thing. The same orders, the same directions, the same everything, the same process here. Same assignments will be given in the same way because they work so beautifully in the weeks leading up to the move into the Thunderdome. Again, they don't change. They're so stuck in their fucking ways. They think they know. But what they know, they think they know, doesn't work. I wish they knew how bad the ratings were, and I wish they had it in them to know to change. Try something else. Maybe go and give some fucking no-name writer the fucking pen. What do you got? Show me. If I like it, I'll get it approved by Vince. Something. The shows just feel the same. There's nothing different about the show. I can harp on this for fucking hours. I made a whole podcast on how I would change WWE, what they need to do to change. And all I give to you guys every single week is the same shit. Bruce doing the same shit. Leaderless. No direction. They're writing for Vince. Has any of this worked? Does anybody have a fucking mouth? Or are you straddled with a fucking muzzle? What is it? Does nobody have the balls in this company to tell Vince, hey man, it's not working? It's not working. We need to go somewhere else. We need to do something different. It's always the same shit. So the same assignments, same fashion they've been operating under since Paul Heyman left or was fired. They will now come up with a single episode at a time to tape. because they will be live. So they won't be doing multiple tapings, which should be good for the roster. Yes, the roster has to be there more every week, but again, like I said, WWE should be able to contain everything in a much bigger setting. So single episodes at a time. The company won't have the luxury of editing in post either, but the last-minute rewrites are always a possibility. Additionally, a member of the writing team remarked to Ringside News that they are being reminded that they are on the same team on a regular basis. These reminders come in the form of memos and emails to remind us all that we're on one team now. There's no separate writing teams. There's no Raw team. There's no SmackDown team. They're all operating under the same banner collectively, which means probably less opportunity for everybody on those writing teams. So now, instead of maybe getting your ideas across in a smaller setting because you're on one brand away from the other, now you're collectively working together. Now your opportunity at maybe getting an idea across is never going to get across because you're all working together. Instead of 20, now it's 40. Instead of 30, now it's 60. Which is ridiculous to even say 30 is even too much. They don't need 30. They need good writers, 4 or 5, a handful. So your ideas are never going to get across because how can it with that many people there under one fucking roof at one desk with the one guy that matters with these shows, Vince sitting at the head of the table and Bruce sitting right next to him? Those are the only two guys that matter. Everybody else, you're given a number and that's the way you're addressed. Number 8. It's like a fucking bigger version of the Dark Order. WWE creative. It's ridiculous. So they remind us all that we're all one team now. WWE will air their final Raw from the Performance Center. Well, they actually did already on Monday. Going into Monday, the Summerslam weekend, the Raw after Summerslam, they will be in the ThunderDome live. So they aired their final episode of Monday Night Raw from the PC this past Monday, where we seen Retribution, the clowns under the mask, kind of destroyed the backstage area of the PC. So the Amway Center, at least till October, they will not be allowed to have live fans there until November, at least contractually. But like I said, the virtual fan experience, hopefully to WWE, will supplement this loss, while AEW has live human beings at 10 to 15% max capacity. That is enough to not only rival what they got on the big screen, but it's going to be enough to generate a lot of noise inside that Daly's place, man. Again, I cannot stress this enough. WWE television is not going to feel any different. Aesthetically, it will look different, but what you see, and I'm telling you, from the entrances to that aisleway and the action in the ring and the storylines that we see take place on WWE TV, nothing will be different. After all that I read to you here, how can anyone expect anything to be different with Bruce and Vince McMahon in charge? And the better question is, how long is Bruce Pritchard going to remain in charge after stories came out weeks ago that he was tired, he was stressed, and he didn't know what to do anymore? Who's going to take over for Bruce if that is the news going around this week? Or if that was the news a couple of weeks back? Is Vince McMahon thinking about relieving Bruce of Monday Night Raw and having him only concentrate on one show now that they're going back to live? Who is that man going to be? And is that man going to make any difference? I'll be right back and we'll talk about how Shane McMahon is possibly going to replace Bruce Pritchard as the new executive director of Monday Night Raw. You know, a lot of you guys listen to me this time of year, and we talk about how SummerSlam is not SummerSlam, and how SummerSlam is Summer Scam. The biggest scam of the summer. The lamest party of the summer. I want you guys to realize that this does not only pertain to WWE programming and the aptly named event, but this also translates into the bedroom. I don't want you guys to be the biggest scam of the summer in the bedroom. I don't want you to bring the lamest party of the summer in between the sheets. I want you guys to listen to me because I know you need to relive the glory days of Summerslam. And this is why I present to you Blue Chew. And today's podcast, OTS 340, is sponsored by Blue Chew. Now you guys can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed with BlueChew.com. They bring you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You guys can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they are chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, and you guys can bring the party whenever the opportunity arises. If you guys can get some more confidence where it counts, why not give Blue Chew a shot? Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy. It ships right to your front door in a very discreet package. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy, and best of all, there's no more awkwardness. Right now, I've got a special deal for everybody listening to Off the Script episode 340 today on the podcast. You guys can visit BlueChew.com. Use code JD at checkout. You are going to be eligible for a free sample of Blue Chew, man. So please, party on all summer long. All you guys need to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling. Again, that's BlueChew.com. Promo code JD. Don't be a scam, man. BlueChew.com. It is the better, cheaper, and faster choice, and I want to thank them for bringing the party right here on Off the Script. So I woke up on Thursday morning, and obviously the first place I go is Twitter while I have my coffee. And I see this news article, and it raises my eyebrow, and it catches my attention. What if I told you guys that Bruce Pritchard may be out as executive director of Monday Night Raw, and his replacement will be Shane McMahon? Now, one has to wonder why Bruce Pritchard would be removed. I mean, it's very easy to tell why he would be removed. The shows fucking suck every single week. Logic gap after logic gap. You fall in one of those gaps, bro, you are lost for all eternity. Never to return again. You'll never see sunlight ever again. You fall into one of them fucking logic gaps. Shane McMahon to replace Bruce Pritchard. I would like to know who thinks this is a good idea. I'd like to know why anybody thinks this is going to change Monday Night Raw. It could be Shane McMahon, it could be Stephanie McMahon, it could be Carol McMahon, it could be Austin McMahon, it could be Benny McMahon, it could be Dick McMahon. You could fucking put SpongeBob in the fucking Underworld Sea down there. I don't fucking know. Whatever you want on Monday. You can bring in any no-name fucking jabron in here to run Monday Night Raw. Nothing is going to be any difference until I read a fucking story where it says Shane McMahon now has full control over Monday Night Raw, and Vince will not hinder his decisions. All decisions go directly through Shane McMahon. Now, granted, he is a McMahon. Granted, we know how a McMahon operates, but the real side of the story here, if that's the case, is McMahon is 20 fucking years plus younger than his father. So he's more in touch with the youth. He's more in touch with what fans want. He's probably a little bit more respected in the WWE realm than Vince is at this current stage. So yes, Shane has something working in his favor. But until I read, Bruce is out, Shane is in, and Shane is the end-all be-all, I don't really take this story to be relevant in any sense of the word. It's all just words on a piece of paper on the internet. That's all it is. I don't know who thinks these shows are going to change with Vince still squarely in charge. You think Vince is now going to release some of that burden on himself moving into the Thunderdome? You have to be shitting me. If there was a time and a place for Vince to remove himself from the overall day-to-day operations and creative, it would have been in the Performance Center with Paul Heyman. We didn't get that. What we got is Paul Heyman being fired, Bruce the puppet in there, and Vince now pushing Bruce out and laying it all on Bruce, still having full control over everything. If there was one moment to do that, it would have been here in the PC. Now you're asking Vince to step away and not be in charge of Monday Night Raw as they go and rewrite this new chapter of this virtual online fucking interactive experience? You don't think he's going to want to be there every waking second of the fucking day? This man's hobby is ripping up scripts, willingly, with a smile on his face. Spare me the excuses. Shane does have some things going for him, like I just previously mentioned, but I don't think that Shane McMahon being there is going to make any sort of difference whatsoever. Now, the one other thing that Shane has going for him is that there was a report a couple of weeks back via Ringside News in an exclusive with the Raw Underground shit going on. Shane McMahon's ideas. Now, the Raw Underground idea is a fucking failure, but Shane McMahon's ideas, no matter what they are, we don't know what they have been outside of Raw Underground. Shane McMahon's ideas have been listened to a little bit more than usual. Now, why is that? Why are Shane McMahon's ideas being listened to and brought to the table now in current WWE environments? Does it have anything to do with the fucking shitty ratings that happen every single week? The fact that they're drawing the worst Monday Night Raw ratings in the history of the show? That third hour especially? So yes, they're going to seek help from whatever help is available. Whoever is willing to offer them some type of help. But if the ratings, just like what I mentioned before, if the ratings were up and the ratings were where WWE wanted them to be, would they be in a mad rush to move out of the PC? I don't think so. If the ratings were up, would there be a discussion about getting Shane McMahon in there and removing Bruce and putting him back on SmackDown exclusively? No. No. This is all because of the ratings being the worst in company history. They are looking for whatever Band-Aid is available, whatever is the most adhesive Band-Aid. But they all fall off eventually. They all lose that grip eventually. But in a normal Band-Aid case, your heel on that wound would be gradually getting better. WWE's wound, it continues to get worse every single fucking week, even with the Band-Aid on and some ointment. Now, Sportskeeda is reporting this shit. They're hinting at one of their sources notes that Shane McMahon is being considered to take Raw off of Bruce Pritchard's hands. A man who has worked in every facet of the WWE business from the time he was a child, Shane has been responsible for a few important elements of WWE programming over the past year. Raw Underground is believed to be very much a hands-on project for Shane O'Mac, and he was heavily involved in booking this past January's Royal Rumble. He often sits alongside Vince at the gorilla position, and him running a show wouldn't be asking him to take on more than he would be able to handle or could handle. He's essentially had a front row seat doing a lot and doing this same thing for decades. Now, if Raw Underground is really Shane McMahon's idea, does that mean that there would be a lot more of that type of programming on the show? I hope to God not. If I want to watch MMA, I'm going to go watch MMA. I don't want to watch MMA in a scripted format on a pro wrestling show that is a scripted program. If I want to see two guys beating the living shit out of each other, I'll go watch UFC. If I want to watch professional wrestling, I'll watch AEW. If I want to watch comedy, I'll watch Raw. Greatest comedy that ever existed, Monday Night Raw. But you guys get my point. Now, one thing we know is that Shane wouldn't be afraid to initiate change. If there's one person I would assume that Vince would listen to, I don't even know at this point. He doesn't listen to fucking anybody. He ain't listening to Triple H. I read a report months ago that Vince doesn't even listen to his grandkids on the actual show. His grandkids would say something. Hey, that doesn't work. Or I want to see more of this guy. Why is this guy being treated that way? And Vince doesn't even listen to his own grandchildren. He's going to listen to his own fucking son? He's going to listen to his own daughter? His own son-in-law? Vince will listen to nobody. You would think of all the people in that fucking company, he would listen to his fucking family. He would listen to his son, his daughter. Nobody. Nobody. Vince doesn't care. It just boils down to the fact that Vince doesn't care. I am one of those people in the community that is absolutely in the feels of Vince is absolutely actively trying to sabotage the entire product before he croaks. Honestly, I think Vince is in a mindset of, let me make as much money as I can on this dying product now, and I don't give a fuck what happens to it when I'm dead and gone. He's actively trying to bury the fucking product before he leaves this earth. That's been my feeling for a very long time. And this won't be the first time Vince has actively tried to sabotage anything. I mean, just look at what he did with NXT. Sabotaged NXT to get in the way and be a roadblock to AEW. Because what if he didn't? What if AEW was unopposed on a Wednesday night? We'd be looking at ratings that would be trending closer to where Monday Night Raw is now. It's like Vince knew. It's like Vince already knew what was going to happen in the future. Why did he put NXT live on the USA Network? It's not because Triple H wanted it to be there. It's because Vince McMahon wanted it to be there. Vince tried to actively kill NXT, and he didn't give a shit if he did as long as he stopped AEW. Fact. And now we're seeing more takeovers. We're seeing 2 hours of NXT every single week. We're seeing fucking non-celebrities and Pat McAfee show up on NXT television. Robert Stone puking. Willy-nilly hotshot booking. Events thrown together in 1 week just to stop AEW. That's not the Triple H I know running NXT. That's Vince McMahon. Everything I just mentioned there is a main roster mentality. He's going to listen to fucking Shane McMahon? I would like to think so. In fact, I'll be the first to tell you I'd be interested if Shane is left by himself. Just like Paul Heyman should have been left by himself. I would be genuinely fucking excited if anybody, could be anybody, really. If Shane McMahon was left by himself without Vince's influence, or Vince whispering in his ear, you can't do that, then why even put anybody in place? All it boils down to, like I said, everybody is a fall man. Heyman was a fall man. Bischoff was a fall man. Bruce is a fall man. Everybody that came before them was a fall man. It makes no difference if you're family or not. Shane would be a fall man, but the only thing is you can't fire Shane. He's not going to fire his own fucking son. I would be genuinely excited if they give Shane the keys for 6 months. Not even 6 months. Give him the keys to the fucking Lamborghini for 3 months. Give him the show with full control. Vince wouldn't do that with a Paul Heyman. Vince wouldn't do that with a Bruce Pritchard. Vince wouldn't do that with an Eric Bischoff. They're all outsiders. They're not blood. They're not family. That's what needs to be done if you want to really push forward with true change. So do it. What do you have to lose? There's nothing else for them to lose. Look at the ratings. If Shane McMahon is the sole owner of Monday Night Raw for 3 fucking months, I guarantee you on my grandfather's fucking tomb, Monday Night Raw would be different. Monday Night Raw would feel different. We might actually be here 3 months from now saying, you know what, Monday Night Raw is not that bad. It's not perfect. It's a work in progress. A little rough around the edges. A makeover is still needed. But my God, man, you are absolutely in the dumpster, bottom of the barrel right now of the entire industry. How much worse can you possibly get? Shane McMahon to replace Bruce Pritchard? I'm telling you right now, if this is true, and it does happen, and we hear this a month from now, 2-3 weeks from now, I'm all for it. But I just don't see at the end of the day how anything's going to change unless Vince McMahon is completely out of office and not in charge anymore. And I don't see that happening because when they move into the ThunderDome, Vince is going to be more hands-on now than ever. Speaking of Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw viewership hits another all-time low. Worst third hour, not the other way around. Worst third hour rating ever in the history of Monday Night Raw. Now, I don't want to hear about the Democratic National Convention. I don't want to hear nothing about politics. Raw had its 4th lowest overall rating ever. And the number came in at 1.64 million overall, with a 0.48 in the 18 to 49. The audience was down 5% from last week, but the key demo saw 18 to 49 up 2%, and 18 to 34 up 24%. Those numbers mean nothing compared to the overall viewership number because they continue to go down, down, down. The first 2 hours did decently well by the standards of the last month, but there was a big third-hour drop against the convention coverage that had nearly 14 million viewers between the various stations showcasing it. The 13% first to third hour drop was a little larger than usual. The third hour was the second least watched hour of Raw on a Monday night in history, beating only the third hour of the July 27th show. As compared with the same week last year, which is a comedy in its own right, Raw was down 35% in viewers, 41% down in the 18 to 49, and 51% in the 18 to 34. Man, oh man, I swear to God, Vince McMahon better pray to the fucking God of thunder and lightning that the ThunderDome brings these people back, or at least a portion of these people back. Seriously. Raw was 31st overall for the night, 11th in the 18 to 49, 8th in males, 18 to 49, and 12th in the 18 to 34. The 3 hours were as follows: 8 p.m. 1.73, 9 p.m. 1.70, 10 p.m. 1.50, making it the worst third hour in the history of Monday Night Raw. I don't know. Yet the building is the fucking problem, right? Yes, please, solely blame it on the fucking building. Unreal. SmackDown. SmackDown rating was up. Why were they up? I don't know. But all I will say is SmackDown's been obviously better than Monday Night Raw. And I think with the Retribution attack angle that took place with the chainsaws and the destruction around ringside area and the baseball bats and them acting like fucking clowns, the fact that they came out looking like 205 Live rejects, I guess that got people interested. So following last week's show closing angle where Retribution destroyed the SmackDown ringside area inside the PC, I guess curiosity killed the cat here. Seems to have lit a curiosity in the WWE fans over overnight ratings for the episode of SmackDown this week was a 1.979 million viewership. That's up 1.2% from last week and the best number for the show since June. For the second week in a row, the audience rose throughout the 2 hours as 1 hour, the 8 to 9 hour, did 1.932 million, and the second hour did a 2.025 million. So they got over that 2 hump. That's an increase of 4%. That's generally the sign of a well-received episode of SmackDown, and they should be, I would say, I don't want to say excited, but they should be patting themselves on the back that they actually did something that generated fucking interest where there really is no interest to be found on these shows. SmackDown topped all network TV in the 18 to 34 demo with a 0.3 rating. That's up 50% from last week. In the 18 to 49, the show also led all networks with a 0.5 rating. That's the same number SmackDown has done in 5 of the last 6 weeks. Fox did finish at the bottom in terms of overall viewers, with ABC averaging 2.6 million viewers on the night as the lowest competition. So that is that. SmackDown has been just a tad bit better, and I don't know what the reason is. I doubt it's Retribution. I think overall the Retribution angle has been critically panned in all realms of social media. There are some people out there, oh, I'm excited. Oh, why don't you shut up, man? They got to try something new, and yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, it looks like a desperate attempt to be cool and take real-world problems and integrate them into the program, yet it shows how out of touch WWE really is. There's still Antifa running around doing God knows what, yet WWE wants to have a group that resembles them on their TV show, but they're woven into the fabric of society. But people watch WWE to escape all the real-world problems, yet I'm seeing the real world happen on a scripted fucking show that WWE is in full control over. Doesn't really make for something that's woven into the fabric of society and for me to watch to escape the real world issues, a form of escapism here. You're just dragging me back into the fucking hell that exists outside these walls. Give me a break. Now, the show has been pushing new talent. We've seen Lucha House Party. We've seen Big E. We've seen Drew Gulak. We've seen Matt Riddle, Chad Gable, Sheamus, etc., etc. WWE, dating back to like a month ago, 2 months ago, they were pushing the same talent over and over again, just recycling the same talent over and over. Now, Daniel Bryan is a part of the creative writing team, and his ideas are actually taking precedent. Like Vince is actually listening to Daniel Bryan. This is why you're seeing some of the talent that you don't normally see on the show, which is great. I don't know how long that's going to last, but if Daniel Bryan is the means to a better show, God bless him. God bless him. We need more of that. Absolutely need more of that. So I don't find it to be a weird coincidence whatsoever. When you got somebody with the mind and intelligence of a Daniel Bryan giving key ideas to creative as far as what to do to make SmackDown better, I don't find it to be a coincidence at all that the show has been just a little bit better. Now, this isn't the final form of where SmackDown needs to be. If this keeps up, if SmackDown continues to book consistent shows week in and week out, and they're still not there, nowhere even close. They're not even in the fucking parking lot. But if SmackDown continues to do consistent shows, and I don't mean a good show here and then 4 bad shows, a good show there and 3 bad shows, 2 good shows and then 5 bad shows. No, that's not consistency. That's not what I call a winning streak. They need to be consistent. Things need to make sense. Logic gaps need to be covered with cement. Big time. Consistency. You do that for 6 months to a year, and you do it at a consistent pace, things will change. But they have been better, at least better than Monday Night Raw. Shows have still been overly boring, but at least they're better than what Monday Night Raw is doing right now. Maybe Bruce really hasn't had a say in SmackDown. Maybe he's so tired from what's going on writing 3 hours of Raw every week that he's got to worry about SmackDown. Maybe he's kind of laid some of the responsibility on other people, and then he's the figurehead that goes to Vince McMahon and kind of pushes everything on Vince, but it's really others doing the majority of the work and carrying the workload and not Bruce so much. He's just there by name. And he's letting Daniel Bryan take the reins or some other guy take the reins. I don't know. I don't know what the creative writing process is in WWE. I don't know who's in charge of what. They're all working as one now, like I mentioned before. Who the fuck knows? Really doesn't even matter. All the shows at the end of the day have been inconsistent fucking messes. Seriously. Now, I got one more story here before we get the hell out of here. And I will mention these other two when we talk about SummerSlam predictions. There's one piece here, Vince McMahon. Now, I don't think Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles is taking place at SummerSlam. I don't. I think they're going to save that for Payback. Because they need something for Payback. They already got a card that could easily eclipse 3 hours, which is all that they should go for this show. They got a card that is enough for 3 hours, 3.5 hours on Sunday night, so it's not too much. And they obviously need to start booking for Payback, being that Payback is legitimately a week after SummerSlam. I do not think with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles being announced for Friday, tonight, that it's going to happen on Sunday. Usually WWE does this, fuck finish, retribution, right? Somehow has a fuck finish to this match, or causes a fuck finish, then we get the rematch at SummerSlam. I don't want that. Maybe we get something as far as the retribution theme on the show, but it doesn't have anything to do with this. Maybe we get this match kind of fitting into that Payback theme. Maybe Sheamus comes out. Maybe Baron Corbin comes out. I don't know. Something that leads to this match happening for the IC title at Payback, because they have nothing else booked on that show. I just feel like it's going to be a mix mash of rematches from what we see on Friday, on Monday, and then from SummerSlam. That's Payback. I don't know why WWE is booking a Payback. I would like to think that they have some sort of plan. Otherwise, having a pay-per-view follow your biggest pay-per-view of the summer 1 week after kind of looks ridiculous. So WWE has Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles on Friday. Vince actually erased AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy before actually bringing it back to TV as of this past Friday, which kind of, again, fits to my point, being that Vince erased it. If it was planned and Vince put it on the show when he had originally intended it to be on the show, then we might be looking at Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam. Being that we're just getting this match on Friday, I don't see it making much sense being on SummerSlam. So Vince erased Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles before bringing it back to TV on Friday. Meltzer talked about this and noted that AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy were supposed to start their rivalry weeks ago. He said that was one of the things that he erased from the show, so he's a little late on getting this thing started. WWE obviously circled back to it on Friday, and now the idea is that they will battle during SmackDown in the Amway Center live for the Intercontinental Championship. Joseph Park is now a part of AJ Styles' act, which I think is great. I think they should keep that. I love his facial reactions. I think he's very humorous in a very genuine way, and it meshes well with AJ Styles' sense of humor. So it's unclear whether Joseph Park will remain in this angle, but I hope he does stick around in the AJ Styles IC title run. So that is that. WWE, I don't think, is putting this on SummerSlam's card, even though I think there will be some sort of fuck finish. I think this takes place at Payback because, like I said, they have nothing else for Payback right now. We are, I think, all in agreement here. We may be getting another rematch between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. We got the tag team titles of the women's division on the line. Sasha and Bayley will be defending against God knows who. I'm assuming it's going to be Shayna Baszler and Asuka of all fucking teams because they beat Sasha and Bayley on Monday Night Raw. Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles. I assume we get Baron Corbin versus Matt Riddle on that show because that's not on the SummerSlam card. Those are 4 matches right there for Payback. I don't know what else WWE is going to add to that, so we'll see. But that is just me thinking off the top of my head, so let me know what you guys think about that. AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Payback, more than likely. I got SummerSlam predictions coming up. I told you this was a loaded show, man. So don't go anywhere. We'll go over the SummerSlam card. I'll give you my quick predictions on what I think should happen at SummerSlam, plus some news and notes regarding some of the bigger matches. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back with SummerSlam predictions.